Hey, and welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be topping some plants and we're going to do a bit of a test, see with the comparison between a plant that hasn't been topped and a plant that has. I've done this in the past where I've topped plants and I've had mixed results, so it'll be interesting to see a proper test, how it does through the season. So let's get inside the greenhouse and top some plants. So these are two of my Piri Piri plants, and we can see here that they have both been started on the same date, the 28th of January 2018. Very similar growth on both of them. I think a little bit more growth on this one here. So what we'll do is we'll take this one and we'll do the topping on this, so we'll see the difference between the two plants. I'm going to mark this with a little dot, so we know that that's the one we've topped. The topping's really easy. Try and leave some green growth on the plant itself, because you need to make sure that it can still get energy from the sunlight. We're going to be quite drastic with this one. What we'll do is we'll just cut it at this point here. That's quite a lot that I've cut off here. And we'll also cut off a few leaves. That's quite drastic what I've done there, but it should be able to show us the difference between the growth levels over the next couple of weeks between this plant and this plant. With this one here, I'm going to put a little line on it just to show that this is the comparison plant, so there's no confusion, and we'll come back to it in a couple of weeks. As a second comparison, we have my jalapeno plants. So I've done the same thing with these two plants. Both were started at the same time. They both had a similar amount of growth, but I've gone and chopped off some of the stems like I did on the other plants, my Piri Piri, so we can again see the comparison. It's been 24 days and it's time now to check on how the plants have done after the topping we did. So first we'll have a look at the two Piri Piri plants, and we can see the one on the left is the one that we topped and the one on the right we didn't top. At first glance it might look like the one we haven't topped is doing better, purely because of this long stalk over here. If you have a closer look at the one that we topped, you can see all the new growth that's coming out, all these leaves which will turn into stalks, and this should result in a much bushier plant rather than this one, which will probably grow a little bit taller. However, the result is not as dramatic as you might think, and this is why I'm always in two minds about doing topping. I've been doing this for many years, and I probably only ever topped plants in 2 of the years that I've been growing peppers, and honestly I don't see too much of a result. So this is the jalapeno that we topped, and we can see here there is a lot of new growth again, if we turn that around. However, again, not too dramatic. So topping is useful sometimes, but like you can see here, these two plants were identical before. The plant that we've topped is this one here. So we can see we topped it over there, which has created a bit more growth down below. But this one here is just taking off, and without topping it, you can see how this is branched off. And over there as well, there's a few different Ys. So this should get quite bushy as well. We'll keep following these plants that I've topped to do the comparison, see the one with the dot and the one with the little line. We'll keep following it throughout the season and just see how they do ultimately at the end of it. So I wanted to show you one other plant. So this is a pepper dew that I had topped, so I'd cut off at the top of the stem here. You can see that. But also what I did is all the leaves I removed. So this was a completely bare plant. Now I did this just to show how resilient pepper plants can be. Don't stress out too much about your pepper plants, because as long as they have the right nutrients, as long as they have the right weather, the sun, the warmth, then you're going to have no problems whatsoever. This here is within 20 days, this is the growth that I've got back. And this will turn into a very productive plant, so I'm not worried about that. It's just to show you how pepper plants can recover. If you forget to water them and they start losing their leaves, or maybe you haven't fed them, or the soil hasn't been good enough, just fix the problem, and what will happen is you'll end up having a lovely plant at the end of it anyway. So it's now been 37 days and you can see the results of the topping. And at first glance it might seem like this plant is doing better. This is the one that I didn't top, and the one on the left is the one I did top. I'll show on the screen what they look like when I originally did the topping. But as much as this looks like it's taller, that's not necessarily a good thing. The growth isn't as compact as the growth that you get on this one. So if you look here, there's loads of growth coming out from everywhere, especially down below here. And that's exactly what you need. You want this to be a much bushier plant down the bottom. Whereas this one here, it's going to grow taller, but it's not necessarily going to be as abundant with the peppers. I'll keep monitoring them through the season and you'll be able to see how they perform, and we'll let you know. So the jury's out. I'm still a little bit cautious about, whether topping's a good thing or not. So if you have the longer season, then I think topping is definitely a good thing. But because we're limited in how long we can actually grow our plants for, I think that topping sets it back just a bit too much for the short amount of time we can actually grow our plants. So these are the other two plants that I was comparing, the two jalapenos. You can see here, this is the one that I didn't top, and that's looking actually quite healthy. And then the one I have topped is this one on the right. You can see there by the little dot down there. This one here is getting also a bit leggy. There's a lot of growth down below. I don't know, like I said, the jury's out about whether it's really that useful or not. I definitely think if you have a longer season, if you're able to overwinter your plants, then you definitely want to be able to top. That's the results for now. We'll keep following this through the season. I'll make a part 2 of this video when we get to the end of the season, and we'll be able to compare what these plants look like and how they performed in terms of what chilies we're getting off them. So that's all for this video, and we'll see you again on the next one. Thanks for watching.